Okay, yeah. So if you have contacts from a different CRM or on an Excel spreadsheet, you can do a one-time import into your KV Core. And then you can what you would want to do, what I recommend is differentiating between whether they're buyer or seller, renter, investor, having those kind of differential things for each person, because then it'll automatically be done in KV Core. And then it's easier to target. Like if you have something about the recent mortgage rates, you can do a mass email or a mass text to all the buyers in your system. Or if you've got something like you want to advertise to get somebody's home value, then you can just contact all the sellers. And then that way you're not bothering people, not bothering, but that way you're not inundating people that it doesn't really apply to, right? So like a renter doesn't want to know what their home value is, they're renting. And maybe they do, but I mean, likely they're going to be more interested in mortgage rates and getting, information about buying. So if you get all that kind of squared away on your spreadsheet, then KV Core can do the one-time import. This gentleman, Shannon Pyatt, like I said, he's a certified trainer for KV Core, and he's at kvcorebootcamp.com. $347 for like the max package that he does. And he does quite a bit. And he'll put, I believe it includes several of those campaigns for automated. So like if you have a new buyer lead come in, you can put them on the buyer campaign and it'll do a series of emails or texts. So you can get all of that kind of automated a little bit. And then obviously you implement phone calls and other touches that you do personally, but they'll get at least something from those campaigns. So that's something that Charlene and I are both working on. Charlene is part of my organization in EXP. So we're both working on getting our systems more dialed in. I'm a little bit further ahead than she is on that, whereas I've got my KV Core all set up. And I had somebody else do it and they're way more expensive now than they were. Shannon, I actually this week reached out to him to see if he could do, like any other enhancements he could do to my KV Core, like on an a la carte kind of basis. And if there's other campaigns that he'd be willing to add that I can just pay for separately. So I'm even looking to enhance what I've got now. And I've got probably 7 to 10 campaigns already.
Wow.
So they're really, really good. Because I get leads from your property boosts. When you do a property boost in KV Core, they automatically go into your CRM. And then if it's a buyer lead, if whatever ad you're doing is like a buyer lead ad, it'll automatically set them up on the buyer campaign. So they're automatically getting something right away. And that's really helpful because they're getting a touch from you. Now, there is one key thing that I recommend no matter what you do in KV Core. And this is something Shannon pointed out on a training that I watched that he did. The phone number that you're issued in KV Core automatically is it's a round robin phone number. So if somebody calls that number, they may get someone else because it goes to the next person in queue. So many people are assigned that number. Whereas you have the option that you can purchase your smart number for $27 a month. And you have that separate number in KV Core. And those calls only go to you. So when you send out a text blast, you're the only one getting the responses. Whereas if you don't pay for the phone number, it goes in a round robin to whatever agent is next. So that was, to me, worth the $27 a month to make sure that my efforts are only coming back to me. So I highly recommend that. And I'm sure Shannon will as well, because he's the one who told me about it. So, well, that's funny because I was going to see what everybody was concerned about or had questions about, because one of the things that I'm really passionate about is KV Core, and that was one of the systems that I was going to talk about today. So that's awesome that you have a database. I too have a database from when I first moved to this area about 7 years ago. Gosh, it's been, yeah, 7 years ago. And when I first started doing real estate here in Fresno, I did a lot of open houses. I pursued a lot of for sale by owners, and I pursued a lot of expireds. And I have held on to those contacts and whatever information I've gotten from them, because I did a lot of follow-up with them to where by now they should know who I am. And some of them have listed and sold and, you know, whatever over the years. And so I would say once a quarter, I go over all of those contacts and see what's changed, if anything, if they're still in the home or if they've sold or whatever. And I try to send something at least 2 or 3 times a year. And so now I've got them all in KV Core. And if I've got some of them, the FSBOs I have phone numbers and emails for typically, because usually they have to list that information in order to get people to come see their house. So for the FSBOs, I have more contact information, whereas the expireds, not so much. And I haven't taken the time to give a list to my title company to get the numbers and emails from them. But on at least those FSBOs and the people from open houses, I'm doing lead revival campaigns. So one of the campaigns that I get is a lead revival campaign, like, hey, we met a while back, or I've been in touch with you over the years, whatever. And it goes into a series of lead revival scripting stuff. So trying to get that underway. One of the things I've also been doing lately is text blasts, because there's a certain population of people that don't necessarily check their email, or maybe it goes to spam. And text messages typically go through. So, and people are more prone to respond to a text message, at least I am, and I think a lot of people are, but they'll respond to a text message before an email. So I've been doing text blasts about the recent mortgage rates. So I will reach out to all my buyers in my KV Core and all my renters and give them information about recent mortgage rates. I'll obviously have a conversation with my lender ahead of time. Hey, I'm getting ready to do this. Give me some information that I can provide as a little nugget to get them to call and inquire. And so I've been working hand in hand with him. And of course, he gets all the leads to pursue as well. So I've gotten some good information. It's not a high return. I've sent out to like 600 people in my contacts. I have 1,000 or so. And I got some that said stop or unsubscribe, which is fine. I'll clear them out, not a problem. And then, I might get 6 or 7 that say, hey, tell me more. So then you work with those 6 or 7 that maybe you hadn't really reached out to. You can now maybe help them with their homeownership journey. So
yeah, piggybacking on what Tammy was saying earlier, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of putting some kind of a little widget on my website for the current interest rate, so people can just jump onto my site, and look to see what it is, or see like any new news or something like that. But kind of like how to broadcast that as a marketing piece is kind of like the head scratcher, Yeah. So
do you do much video?
I'm going to start. Yeah.
Because
So no, but yes, I'm going to. Yeah.
That's something that you can, I know on your KV Core website, you can do a page. I think there's already a page started for blogs, and you can do videos. You can add videos to that page, and maybe you can, update it monthly, update it, whatever frequency is comfortable for you, and post it on your KV Core website. And then you can do a QR code for that URL for that tab on your website, and send that QR code out. Or if you're doing it in a text or an email, if you can't do the QR code, then do the link in your text or email.
Yeah.
hey, check out the latest mortgage rates right here. And it'll do a link to that page on your website where they can see the video.
Yeah, it might be cool to get it put on a magnet even, you know, for, I don't know, it's kind of like going up and above, but you know, just
Yeah.
trying to figure it out.
I think I have on my, oh yeah, on my business card, I have a QR code on the back for just my homepage of my website so they can go anywhere within, because you never know who you're going to contact, right? So I just did it for the homepage of my website. So it's on the back of my business card.
Smart, huh?
QR codes are kind of cool.
Yeah. You remember way back in the day when they first started? And then they went through this little phase of you can make them in like different colors and shapes and stuff like that. Yeah.
I just went simple.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Another thing about the database is really, you know, probably my sponsor, if he ever sees this, is probably gonna roll over and smack me in my throat through the video. You know, anyway, he's super cool. Ed Lane, that's his name.
Oh, Ed.
Oh yeah, he's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, you know, the tough part is I just don't want to like throw them in there because it's just gonna be just the same problem I have right now with all of these like random leads, right? So I want to figure out some way to really drill down on the CSV that I'm going to be sending, you know, with the hashtags and all that junk like that, you know, like subdivisions and, you know, to really drill it down because within my database, there is so much work in there, you
How many
know,
do you think
there's,
you have? How many
oh,
contacts?
it's embarrassing. I don't want to say.
Don't say it. It's just the three of us here.
Oh, that's being recorded. No thanks. Yeah, I have okay, there's a lot. It's over 1,000. I mean, I've been collecting them since 2013, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's over
This is
5,000.
what I recommend is taking maybe a certain amount per day, whatever time allotment you have. Maybe you have 2 hours to go through them, and maybe you just dedicate an amount of time, or you dedicate, I'm going to do at least 100 contacts a day, whatever's doable for you. I don't know what kind of time you have to dedicate to it, because I've found in accountability, if you don't quantify what it is,
Yeah,
and then it's kind of open-ended and you don't know if you accomplished anything or not, because you're looking at, oh, I have 1,000 leads, I only got 25 done. Well, that seems like nothing in the big scheme of things. But if you look at it like, I set out to do 25 today, I did 25 today, woohoo! And then you can celebrate that. And that sense of accomplishment psychologically motivates you and keeps you going to do more. So
yeah,
then if you quantify with at least I spent 2 hours doing that, or 1 hour doing that, or I did 100 today, or I did 50 today, and go through each one, maybe double check if you have their address and see, and you know, do a little research.
yeah,
Maybe 25 a day to start, because that's a lot if you're researching them. Do 25 a day and go through, see if their house has sold since your initial contact with them,
right.
you know, and see if they still own that house that you have on record for them. If they've sold it, then figure out what you want to do with them. But if they haven't sold it, then go further and say, okay, there, if you want to do the hashtags, they're this community, they're, you know,
Right, yeah,
buyer and seller, or, you know, whatever hashtags you want to associate with, and update your list that way. And then once you get to like 100, you could, or 500, whatever your benchmark is, send it to KV Core to do a bulk import.
right.
Once
Yeah,
they do a bulk import, you can start doing some of that follow-up or a lead revival, and start doing it that way instead of doing all of them at once. Maybe start with the first 250. That might be kind of hard to keep track of, but I mean, do something forward progress is forward progress, at least fall
Yeah,
forward instead of backward. So set an accountability goal for yourself. And you know, if you want to be accountable to somebody every day, you know, text Ed and say, hey, I want to make sure that I do this every day. And I'm going to do it for an hour every day, or I'm going to do 25 a day, whatever your goal is, and say, I need to be held accountable for this. Can I text you every day once it's complete? And if you don't get a text from me, you have my permission to call me, text me, knock on my door, whatever. Or whatever you want to do. I mean, obviously cater it to what you're comfortable with and what, you know, the people that you think are going to hold you accountable the best. Because that's what I'll do with Charlene. I'm like, hey, I've got to make 20 calls today. I cannot talk on the phone to anybody but prospects today. I have to call at least 20 people. Once I call 20 people, I'm good. We can chit chat about what's going on. But I got to get my 20 calls in first.
yeah,
So find somebody who can help you be accountable for that and do that. And then you never know, after a couple weeks, you might have 500 of them in your system that are ready to go. That's 500 you
yeah,
didn't
that'd be
have.
awesome. Yeah,
So there's that book called The Gap in the Gain. And the theory in that book is not necessarily to look at how far you have to go, because a lot of times that'll paralyze somebody, AKA me. If
yeah,
I know I have 5,000 people I've got to go through and research and hashtag and blah, 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 I'm going to look at it and go, yeah, forget that. I'll never get that done.
right.
But if I look at it and I say, you know what, I've already done 25, I can do another 25 today. And you look at how far you've come versus how far you have to go, looking at where you started and where you are now gives you a different kind of motivation and mindset to keep going forward.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
it's just that it's that thing, it's the accountability and it is the overwhelm. Yeah,
mhm,
that's
mhm.
that's a real struggle for real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you know, the saying goes, how do you eat an elephant?
right.
One bite at a time, right?
Right.
And if
Yeah.
that
When I
one bite
went,
is that one bite is 10 calls a day, if that one bite is, you know, 25 contacts a day that you update, then that's what it is. But you're making either way, you're making progress when you're doing it.
yeah, I'm that person who stands there to figure out where I should start on that elephant. You
Mhm.
know?
Yeah, just
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you.
put
Yeah.
some ranch on it and take a bite.
Blue cheese, man. Okay.
Whatever your condiment of choice is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I would, that's where I would start with you, is start going through that list on your Excel spreadsheet and take 10, whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, if 10 is all you can do, then 10 is all you can do. But it's 10 more than you had yesterday.
Yeah.
If you do it 5 days in a row, that's 50 you have.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a progressive thing for sure, because when they're on the task list, then, automatically I'm being told what I need to do every day. So that's
Mhm,
cool too. So,
mhm. And there's a saying I've seen also, slow progress is still progress.
yep.
And who's setting the pace? You are. No one else is setting the pace. You are,
Yeah.
you know? And that's where, when we start comparing ourselves to what other people are doing or other people's success, where we're judging on that scale, that's where things kind of go side, at least for me, they do. So you set the pace. This is your business. You set the pace. As long as you're moving forward, that's the goal, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Charlene, did you have any questions about systems today? She's got small kids, so she may not be able to talk.
Yeah.
So we talked about KV Core. We talked about doing an email blast or a text blast. Do you know how to do that in your KV Core?
Not yet.
Okay. Let me see if I can, I might have too much stuff on my screen. I may not be able to share my screen. Hold on just a second. I don't even know where my KV core thing is. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Don't laugh at me because I have like 5 trillion tabs open.
Don't worry.
So one of the cool things that I like about KV Core is you get to see what people are doing once you get them in your system. And once you set them up on MLS drips. This is a response from a text blast I did. So you get to see what people are doing. See, some people said, yes, I'm interested. Some people said, stop. I want to know the details. That's from a text blast. Or people
Cool.
are looking at properties and they're putting this little fire indicator that they like that property, right? So this is one of the great things about KV Core. Now, once you're in your, one of the things I love to do, which I haven't done in a while, I like to go into listings and then company listings. I don't have anything going on right now, so I don't have any of my own listings, right? But let's say I did a property boost last year on a home that I listed in Clovis, California, okay? And that property boost was for a property listed around $700,000. Now, this house is in that ballpark, right? So I'm going to click on this, and what you can do, and hopefully this works. You see the criteria of the house. It's about what my listing was. I want to see if in my KV Core, if I have any matching buyers, if this falls within their search criteria, because I've done, and when you do a property boost, it also puts their search criteria in their profile. So I'm going to look for matching buyers. I clicked on matching buyers. Oh, this one I don't have any results, of course, because it's the one I'm using as an example. Let me see here. Let's do one that's like $399. Okay, so this one's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 399,000 matching buyers. Do I have any? I have one. Sometimes you might have 10, sometimes you might have 50, depending on a property boost. So what you can do is select that buyer. This tells you that they have a phone number on file. This tells you that they're receiving emails. Okay, this guy's gotten 96 emails from me. Likely they're all the MLS drips that I sent out twice a week. This lets you know that we can send them text messages when it's in red, blue, and green. Now, if these were kind of grayed out, then they've either unsubscribed or they don't have the information to do that function. So if I wanted to send this listing to all the people that matched as a buyer, I could check mark all the people I want to send it to and do a mass text blast. You can put the MLS number in here and also send the listing link and type in a text message. Hey, have you seen this property that just went up for sale in the desired neighborhood that you're looking at? And you can give a quick little blurb on it and check out the image. Let me know if you want to see the property in person, or if you know it's an open house this weekend, I'd love to take you to the open house. Let me know if you want to go Saturday or Sunday. And then you can add the MLS information and send it. They're going to get the link to the MLS to see the photos and all of that, which I think is a great tool.
Yeah.
You're not having to rely on just your listings. You can look at other listings. Now let me see. I want to get one that has more so you can see the impact that it could have. Let's do. Let's see what this one has. Of course. want to make sure they're just our companies.
See, in a database that, you know, has some age to it, the sellers who initially come in as for sale by owners or export or expireds, you know, councils, whatever, you know, they hit that, what is it, you know, 7 to 10 years mark, right?
Right.
So now, would you then, obviously, you probably would go in and change their hashtag to buyer, or is that how the list is populated, by the hashtag of buyer?
You can, whenever I enter a seller, I usually enter them as a buyer as well.
Oh, got it.
9 times out of 10, they're going to repurchase. They're going to take, and right now, most homeowners, there are some that don't, but most homeowners have a decent amount of equity if they've bought in the last
Yeah.
5 years.
Mhm.
Especially prior to COVID, they should have nice equity because prices went up so much in the last 3 years, right?
Yeah.
So I definitely would put those sellers as also buyers. Now, there's also a group of homeowners where maybe they aren't going to purchase again. Maybe it's because they're up in age and they're maybe thinking of going to that next chapter in their life, which is maybe an assisted living facility. So maybe they're not going to buy again. However, in my experience, at least in this area, I've connected with several of the assisted living facilities because senior citizens are my niche. I've connected with several of the senior citizens facilities, and many of them pay a referral fee. If you refer somebody to them, they will pay you a referral fee. It may only be $500, maybe $1,000, who knows? However, you get in touch with those types of facilities and you have that contact information for them. You're not only bringing business to that assisted living facility, you're helping your client above and beyond.
Yeah.
And at that age, a lot of people are really taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And that's where my heart really is. And so I've got resources for moving companies, packing, that'll pack and do all the work for them, estate sale contacts, and that can be a whole niche that could blossom out.
Yeah.
And even though they may not be purchasing again, you may be able to help them get into an assisted living facility. They also likely have adult children and adult grandchildren, possibly, depending on how old they are. And so you never know, and not that this is your focus, but you never know the referral business that could come from it. I had a lady who I put one door hanger on her door, and she swore she saw me on billboards all around town.
Oh.
I'd lived here 3 or 4 months. And she swore she saw me on billboards all around town. I was in the phone book. I'm thinking they still do phone books. But I was in the phone book. I was everywhere. She saw me everywhere. And I'd only given her one door hanger, right? And so she called me and said she wanted to list her house. Well, it took about a year for her to actually list her house. There was some other things that were kind of delaying that from happening right away. Long story short, I listed her house. One of her daughters, who was a little bit older than me, did a garage sale to sell a lot of her stuff. We got her into the assisted living facility. I moved her furniture for her because
Yeah.
her kids were exhausted from going through the house, which I get it.
Right.
So I had a friend and we got a pickup truck from a friend of ours, got a pickup truck, loaded her little love seat, her chair, some boxes of stuff, and then took another trip, got her bed, her, all this other stuff, took 2 trips in our pickup truck and brought everything into the house for her. And man, she was so appreciative. And then when the garage sale was over, the daughter told me, she's like, we just can't do anything else. We're just so exhausted, because they had their lives that they were living too, plus doing this. And I said, don't worry about it. You know what I'm going to do? I'll be here next weekend. I'll box up all the books, because she had this one wall that was just completely filled with books. I said, I'll box up all the books. There's a local store here in town that takes book donations, and sometimes they'll even pay you for some of them. And so I boxed up all the books and took all the books to the book barn. They gave a tax deductible receipt and paid out some money for some of her books. I did a bunch of stuff on OfferUp, and I was at the house from like noon to 4 that day, kind of like an open house. And I said, hey, I took pictures of everything that we were selling, the furniture that was being left behind, took pictures of everything, put everything on OfferUp, and I got her like an extra $1,500.
Sweet.
And then whatever didn't sell that day, I took a picture and sent it to the children, and I said, look, this is what's left over. I can box it up and take it to the Salvation Army or whatever Goodwill, wherever you want me to take it, and have them come take it, and that way you guys don't have to do it. Now that was something I did to go above and beyond. I also got a 6% commission on that sale. Well, I mean, my portion was 3%, but I got a full 6%. So I felt like they paid me well. And then at closing, the adult daughter and her husband just were so thankful and so appreciative that a year ago they called me to help them find a house and list their house.
Oh, nice.
And so, and then I would go and visit her at the facility. She had like a cottage, so it was more of an independent living. I'd go and visit her and bring her coffee, and we'd sit and chit chat. And I enjoyed that. That's what I would want someone to do for my grandparents if I wasn't near them, And so I try to treat people how I would want to be treated. And getting to know those assisted living facilities, they invited me to their open houses, so that if there was anybody there that wanted to sell in order to move into the facility, I was there to be the realtor of choice. So it's that paying it forward in the goodwill that you do.
Yeah.
That helped. I kind of feel like we got kind of off topic because we're supposed to be on systems, but
it's all relevant somehow though, right?
Yeah, it's all helpful. Yep. Do you have a specific niche that you try to focus on?
I think probably a buyer seller match, and the sell and buy specialty,
Mhm.
people are trying to do both. I think those are my things that I really like.
Yeah, and having someone who can coordinate that so that closings happen concurrently or together.
Simultaneously, yeah.
Yeah, even if they're relocating out of state or selling out of state and relocating where you are, that takes a certain skill.
Yeah.
And it takes a great level of communication with everybody involved, and being that liaison to make sure that everything falls together like it should.
I found out that I was really enjoyed it a lot when I was selling a place in Federal Way, Washington here. It's about 20 miles south of Seattle. And the fella and his wife, they lived in Thailand. They were teachers, and they had been renting that property for a long time. And being able to call plumbers in and inspectors and give them ideas and stuff like that, and letting them know what's going on. It was really awesome.
Yeah.
I really
My grandmother used to live in Seattle. My dad lived on Alki for a while back in the 80s. Back in the 80s.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
boy, did they ever have a good fish place up there? I don't know if it's still there, a good fish and chip place.
Spuds?
Yeah. Yes.
I know it.
Yeah.
He was right around the corner from them in a really nice condo that you could see the water and everything.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yep, we used to go to Spuds all the time.
Yeah.
My dad's from Seattle.
Oh, whereabouts?
He was born on Bainbridge Island.
No, he was not. What? My grandma and grandpa bought property on Bainbridge, right off of Yolmo Point.
Yeah, he was born there, but pretty much lived in Seattle most of his life. He went to South. He went to South High School for a while, but graduated in Alaska. They ended up my grandmother and him ended up moving to Alaska, and then moved back to Seattle.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's so cool. What a
And
small
so
world.
when he moved to Alaska, he met my mom.
Aw,
Yep.
sweet. Aw,
So I'm familiar with Seattle. Not like totally, but like I
right.
know of it.
Kind of
Yeah.
a kindred spirit.
Been there many times. And there's a certain smell when you get off the plane in Seattle.
There is. It's kind of
There
a,
is.
yeah, it's kind of a toss between low tide and plane fuel, I guess. I don't
No,
know.
isn't there some, well, I haven't been there in years, but isn't there like a mill or something?
Oh, that's in Puyallup
I think you can kind of
or
smell.
Tacoma. You're going down I-5 through Tacoma. They got that paper mill. Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
smelly.
Yep. There's a distinctive Seattle fragrance.
Hmm.
It reminds me of my grandmother, so I love it.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Well, did
Well,
you have any other questions I can help you with?
no,
Okay.
that's about it.
Okay. And I think Charlene's got she's got a little one that's running around. So I think if there isn't any other questions, I think we can
Yeah,
jump off early and get to doing what we need to do.
yeah. I'll check my email too for um that link for the 10 o'clocks.
Yeah, for the ramp.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you don't have it, I think you can email Rick at rickjihad.com.
Okay.
I believe so, because he was saying that on the previous call if you weren't getting the emails.
Yeah.
So if you email Rick at rickjihad.com and then let them know that you'd like to be on the ramp
Okay.
email list.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. You have a great day and all that
right.
good stuff.
You too. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.
Right on.